What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Hot Chai Pod, a podcast where we get into that spicy Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and let me just say, I know I try not to do small talk when I get in here and I sit here, but I have to. This is not small. This is actually a big issue, even though it's weather. I'm in Los Angeles, okay? Apparently, I get a weather alert. I'm getting alerts from the neighborhood apps. I'm getting all sorts of alerts saying it's going to be 115 degrees in Los Angeles. And I'm like, what are you talking about, 115 degrees? How much is that in Celsius, by the way? But anyways, I thought, and I spoke too soon. I was telling everyone, oh, it's getting chilly here. Sitting out in the morning with a sweater, I thought it's getting cold. But I was wrong. I was wrong because this came and it smacked me back to reality. So I thought we were at the end of summer. Guess not. It's like 115. Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband. Because I don't know. I need to get the F out of here. But speaking of insanity, we're going to dive into the hot chai topics today because we got a lot to cover. So I actually saw the maternity pictures that Deepika Padukone and Ranveer Singh posted. I think it was yesterday. She looks insanely gorgeous. Okay, I mean, can Deepika, does she ever look bad? That's probably a better question. And that's gonna be a very, very good looking baby, knock on wood. So, but what isn't cool is I saw some astrologer. Okay, I saw some astrologer come out, give a little chat and say, oh, their baby's going to be born on, such and such date. And it's going to be a boy and it's going to be whatever. And then a bunch of media outlets ran with it. At first I saw it on one and I thought, okay, that's weird. But then it caught fire and everyone started posting it. And what they were specifically posting was that the baby's birthday is allegedly September 28th. Okay? Which is the same birthday as Ranbir Kapoor. Plot twist. And I was like, okay, all right. First of all, let me just say, you better be right, astrologer. You better be right because you just announced it to billions of people. You announced it. So, you have a 1 in, well, now it's, what day is it? Who knows what? You have a 1 in 28 chance of being right at this point. So we'll see. We'll see, because if you're proven wrong, I mean, you got to retire. You can't be making public declarations like this. It's very bold to make these types of declarations. And then what's more bold is that people would say, I mean, you can think it. I mean, it's one thing to think it, but you're going to post as your main title, Deepika Padukone's baby to have the same birthday as ex Ranbir Kapoor. Can we not? Excuse me, this isn't even verified. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's put this everywhere. Let's get people talking about it. And look, even I'm talking about it, but I just don't know. I mean, it's bad enough if you're having a Libra boy, it's bad enough, but I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. More on that later. Actually, we have a little bit of Ranveer tea. I don't know how he makes his way into the press all the time, but he does. So one of the teacups, one of you guys, Hot Chai listeners, left me a note earlier and said, please let me know, please tell me you're discussing his latest interview. And I saw clips of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. And I don't want to be repetitive, but this, because it was requested and because I actually said the same thing on the phone to my mom, when I saw it, it was, of course, we always get the cringy moments. We get the cringy moments in these interviews. Maybe he doesn't have a press person. And I think that's what the commenter said too. So Ranbir Kapoor goes on this interview and he's retelling the story of how he and Alia met, as though it's the most magical love story that ever.
We used to go out at night. He's like, wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So he's telling this story, and the story is, this one is about how he and Alia got to sit together for their flight for the beginning kind of shootings of Brahmastra. So this is a million years ago. And so I'm like, okay, what story is it? What story is it? So this is the story that we're going with about how you met and fell in love. Because in some interviews, they like to bring up, and she loves to bring this one up, oh my God, I met him when I was 9 years old. It's like, you guys stop telling that story. Like, please stop telling that story. No one wants to hear that story. But other times, it's when he came and, she's shooting Student of the Year and he was sitting behind the scenes and he was telling people, like, yeah, should I marry her? One day I'm going to marry her, which, like, she was like 17 when she was shooting that. Like, and you're 20. Can we not? Like, can we not tell that story either? Just don't tell the story. Okay, it happened, but you don't have to tell the story. I don't know if it's the best story. But okay, let's give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that this Brahmastra flight was really when they were like able to talk and like get to know each other, because he's like, oh, by the end of the flight, we're already planning out, our future and our grandkids. And like, I just knew. It's like, okay. It's the cynic in me, but I want to call a little bit of attention to it because Alia was friends with Katrina Kaif when she was dating Ranbir Kapoor, when Katrina was dating Ranbir Kapoor. So, there's some very steamy tea on that. And I think that is for another episode because I'm not ready to be dragged to hell just yet because there is an alleged timeline on all of this. I'm just saying. So, but let's just be real for what we know. For what we can like say happened, let's just be real. Alia goes around for years and years publicly saying how she loves Ranbir Kapoor and she wants to marry him and he's the cutest and he's the hottest. And it's like, okay. Then you go and befriend, you become BFFs with his girlfriend. Like, you guys, let's learn something from this. Let's learn something from Scandival and Tom Sandoval and the Rachel of it all. Let's learn something from this, okay? Be a little wary. Be a little wary. Because let's be real, okay? Katrina's not sitting here thinking, oh, Alia Bhatt is a threat to me. Like, Katrina's like the hottest ever. You know what I mean? Like, she's not sitting there. This girl's like much younger. She's probably just like, oh, this like whatever little girl, coming around. Little did she know. The most dangerous snakes, they move very quietly through the grass. That's what I've learned from my exes anyways. No, I'm kidding. It's all ancient history, all of this. Okay, but they're the ones bringing it up. Stop telling the stories. We don't want to hear the stories. It's even worse. You're, going and saying like immediately when they broke up, suddenly you have this very deep connection with your friend's ex. Like, I don't, like, can we all admit like we would hate that and like that would not fly and that's a no-fly zone? I don't know. But, it happens. It does happen. So in other news, Navyananda was kind of buzzing because she came online and she was announcing that she got accepted to a program at IIM. It's India's Institute of Management. She posted a picture and she's at the school and the caption is like, oh, this is my home for the next 2 years. This was my dream. Good. I gotta say, good. Good, good for you. I don't actually care, but a lot of people did care. A lot of people were being pretty mean about it, I would say. People were saying like, oh, you're being fake, you're pretending you got into like their better MBA program and like you're not smart enough to get into the real MBA program. And I'm like, she didn't even say that though. Like she put that she got into this 2-year, it's like a hybrid program called the BPGP program. I gotta see what that stands for. But anyways, it's like a 2-year thing. So she put it in the caption, but people were not happy about it. And they're just like, she probably bought her way in. And I'm just like, why are we ragging on this? Like, why are we ragging on her? Because, like, shouldn't we be happy? We say Nepo, Nepo, Nepo. And suddenly we have somebody super privileged who's going and furthering their education. Like, maybe she'll even pause the podcast if we're lucky. This idea of buying her way in, someone did bring up, like, on the other side of it, it's strange, like, she went to New York for school, but she didn't go to NYU, she didn't go to Columbia, which Sarah Ali Khan went to Columbia, but instead she went to Fordham, which is it's a good school, but it's not, like, as prestigious, right? And that could be an argument that maybe her family didn't influence admissions and, like, they didn't buy her way in. And so if so, shouldn't we, like, actually appreciate this, right? I feel like we should appreciate that a little bit more. I don't know. Aryan Khan famously went to USC, and that's very competitive for their film and their theater programs. And I'm sure a letter of rec from Shah Rukh Khan did not hurt. I'm sure. And USC was involved in that big scandal where they're taking all these celebrity kids for bribes and whatever. So that's, it casts a little bit of a shadow there. And then Suhana Khan, she went to NYU. Allegedly, she was at Tisch at their acting school, but then she dropped out after a couple of years. And Augustia was also there, and I think he dropped out too. And then they started filming the Archies, which, maybe a couple extra years wouldn't have hurt them. I'm just saying. Ranbir Kapoor actually briefly studied in New York, and he doesn't have a formal degree, like he didn't go to college or whatever, but he went and did some acting classes at the Lee Strasberg Theater and Film School. And he says that he got bored and he got lonely, and so he moved back to Mumbai and became an assistant director for Sanjay Leela Bhansali on the film Black, which, must be nice. Okay, I'm bored of acting school, so let me go, get this dream job. But it's fine. Okay, fine. But then he also said, that this school was a waste of his time and he didn't learn anything. And I thought that was very interesting because we're always ragging on the Nepos, like, oh, go to acting classes, take an acting class. But Ranbir Kapoor, he said these classes were a waste of his time. He left it early. And I will say, he is a great actor, right? He's a great actor. And so it does bring up whether there is this thing of just innate talent, and some people you either got it or you don't, and maybe classes are just refining that. And if you have no talent, maybe it just, I don't know what it does, it just teaches you how to be in front of the screen is what I would assume. So I don't know, maybe someone like Ranbir Kapoor or Kareena Kapoor, not Kareena Kapoor was a terrible actress when she started though, so maybe that was more of a learn it as you go kind of thing. But for someone like Ranbir, who was very talented out the gates, maybe he was subconsciously watching his parents, or some people would say he inherited his parents' talent. But then I don't want to start sounding like Saif Ali Khan, so let's just go to the next subject. I actually would rather be mean about Navya Nanda's brother, Agastya, because I saw a post, and I'll keep it brief, but I saw a post, maybe from Pink Villa, and it was asking who would be a better co-star for Agastya. Should it be Ananya Pandey or Janvi Kapoor? You guys, excuse me? Excuse me. How about neither? How about none of you? How about this is not the Nepoverse, okay? First of all, they wouldn't even look good together. It's super mismatched. They are both tall and hot and no, even if they're all untalented. Okay, let's just put that out there. I don't know what he's got lined up. I actually have to look into that. I'm too traumatized. I'm still traumatized from the Archie's thing. Every time I have to bring it up, I don't like it. Maybe it's worth him. Maybe Agastya should be applying for this MBA program too. Let's, go together, be roommates maybe. It's not a bad idea. I'm actually going to say something a little snarky about Ananya Pandey today because I can't resist. I gotta call it as I see it. So Ananya Pandey's new show is coming out this week. It's called Call Me Bae. And here at the Hot Chai Pod, we are either going to watch it or hate watch it, but we are going to recap it because I think it's going to be a fun show to recap. But while she's out there promoting this, we're seeing all this stuff. We're seeing all the looks, and it's supposed to be a very high fashion kind of promotion. Okay. There's been some cute looks and there's been some misses. But the problem is, for all this high fashion and you're walking out there and you want to be an actress and you want to be a showstopper, and can someone, someone teach Ananya Pandey how to walk? Okay? How to walk in heels, specifically. Why is there such a struggle? And I'm not just saying this to be mean. There were numerous videos actually being look at Ananya Pandey struggling to walk in her high heels. Just walk around New York any given day. You'll see girls just walking all over the grades, jumping over the grades, especially someone as tall as her. And, these are not Lady Gaga platform heels. They're not the, stripper platform 6-inch going up and down at 11 Miami. That's not what these are. These are just designer stilettos. So I feel if you're not going to learn dancing and you're not going to learn acting, how about you just learn how to walk in high heels a little bit better? Because it's not looking graceful. It's not looking good. It's not looking demure. It's not looking mindful. And this actually did remind me of an episode of Coffee with Garn with Alia Bhatt and Varun Dhawan. So I was like thinking about it. I was like, I feel like I've heard this before. And so I went back and checked, and I believe it's season 5. And FYI, this is a season 5. Alia Bhatt got 2 episodes on this season. She first had a premiere episode with Shah Rukh Khan because they were promoting Dear Zindagi or whatever. And then I went back to verify. I was like, so wait, where was the Varun episode? It was also in this season, which is like wild to me. Like, you got 2 episodes. In season 4, she had a debut episode for Student of the Year, so she came on with Sid and Varun. And then later in the season, she comes on with Parneeti Chopra. And by the way, she was a total B to Parneeti Chopra on that episode. Go back, rewatch it if you're curious. She's sitting there, she's acting weird. She's not acting very like girls. She's being like a little, I think, like insecure and jealous because at the time, Parneeti was doing really well in her career, and she also looked like way better. I'm just saying, Ollie was young, so she had a little stepping stone, but she was being like a total beezy to her. Like, I'm trying to think, is there like another star that came on twice, in one season, much less in 2 seasons? And I was like, maybe Shah Rukh Khan, I think, came on twice in a season or something, or maybe Amitabh Bachchan or Abhishek. But I'm trying to like think where that happened, but I'm like, this is like blatant marketing and favoritism. When people say like Alia's this powerhouse and she's the best nepo and nepotism is okay because it's Alia, just know, you were marketed this a little bit. Not to say she's not a great actress, because she is a great actress. I'm just saying something to keep in mind. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. That was a rant. I got off topic. Back to the topic at hand. In this episode with Alia and Varun, Karan Johar, I think he asks Varun in the rapid fire round, and he's like, what's one thing that Alia's parents should have taught her? And Varun Dhawan answers, he's like, I think they should have taught her how to walk properly. He's like, oh, she doesn't know how to walk well. I went back, I watched a video. He's not wrong. It's a struggle. And not everyone knows how to do it. And I think, maybe there's like a little catwalk class, a little like Tyra Banks can come in and show them, or maybe they could just talk to Deepika, after she has this baby. They could just be like, can you teach us really quick in the hospital how to walk? I don't know. I think that would be cute. Maybe they could do a little vlog on that. But I will say, petition for Alia to bring her vlog back. I actually quite like her vlog. I'm guilty of like watching her makeup tutorials and her cooking tutorial. I don't know. I think it's cute. I like it. While we are on the topic of Varun Dhawan, so, I've been liking doing some of this recap work here. I don't think I'll be doing a full recap today because I just watched Varun Dhawan's film. Okay? I watched this movie called October. It came out in 2018. Banita Sandhu is in it. If you don't know her, she was in AP Dhillon's like famous like music video that came out last year, and it's been touted as this is Varun Dhawan's like career best performance. So I thought, let me go and see it. Not that I have a problem with his acting anyways. The movie is very depressing, you guys. It is sad, but it is a very good movie. Like, it's poignant. I mean, trigger warning, it does deal with kind of like injury and, it's a little visual there. So I'm not recapping, but it's just a very serious subject matter. And, I was like, do I really want to recap this? Because it's like depressing, but he did a great performance. I wish there were more movies of that nature. I wish his talent had been showcased a little bit more through that. And I think his work in his father's films, in David Dhawan's films, do not do him justice. And I don't know if it's been a great like field for him to establish himself as like the romantic hero. I don't know. I also saw that his niece is debuting in a movie, and all right. And she came out and she was speaking about how she's so thankful, and Varun helped her. And Varun came out and was like, I didn't help you. Like, my dad didn't help you. And he was trying to say it in a nice way. He's just like, oh, that's not our family tradition. Like, all these other people launch us. Like, like Varun Devon got launched by Karan Johar, and like, okay, all right, okay, whatever helps, whatever helps. Hopefully, Varun's upcoming works are a little bit more reflective of his talent, and because I do enjoy seeing him on screen, I will say that, and maybe he can work on his like voice intonation because it's a little. Sometimes it's such a important or like heavy dialogue, and you get this almost like light, like boyish voice coming through, and I don't know if it's the move. So yeah, if you haven't seen October, it's on Amazon Prime. It was, if you're in the mood to like be in your feels, watch it. So for today's teacup time, we're gonna do something a little bit different. I have a little bit of a rant. I have an astrology rant. And yes, you might be thinking, well, like Jazz, you love astrology. I'm going to pick a bone because maybe it's just my algorithm. Maybe I'm being punished for indulging all the astrology posts and following these random people. But let me just say, my Instagram feed is full of these strange kind of astrologers, kind of not, and they're giving this doom and gloom. They're giving these readings, and I'm like, maybe it's specific to me because Instagram knows like I'll linger and watch it even if I'm not following them. What I've been hearing is like, watch out if you're a cardinal sign, especially. I was like, that's me. I'm a cardinal sign. There's 3 types of signs: mutable, fixed, cardinal, and I'm a triple cardinal. So I got a little worried, and I had been seeing this come up, and they're basically like, the last 16 years of your life have been horrible, basically, or like deeply transformational, and you have suffered. And now, finally, and you know what? Let me pull up my app, the pattern app here. I was like, and I will get into the pattern app in a second. It's like on September 1st, 2024, Pluto, the planet of transformation, re-enters Capricorn, where it will remain until November 19th. This is another shift. Pluto in Capricorn, now it's going Pluto to Aquarius. This won't happen again for another 284 years. Okay. And they said the last time this happened, they're saying the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was during the French and American revolutions. I'm like, okay, that is an interesting connection. Is Pluto still a planet? Is actually my bigger question. Okay, so what does this mean for me? So they're like, you know what? Buckle up. Buckle up. You have the next few months. You're gonna feel everything you felt in the last 16 years. I have a couple of bones to pick. First of all, this pattern app was apparently started by this woman, and it's blown up, and it's like an astrology app, right? So you put in your whole like your date of birth, you put in your birth time, and it kind of calculates like all of your houses and all of this stuff that I really don't even pay attention to that much. But then it comes up with certain patterns for your life. And so it's like, okay, from this month to this month, you're going to be in this pattern. And they're like long patterns. They can be like 11 months, they can be like 25 months. On mine, anyways, I've linked to my friends to read his patterns. And so the founder of this went to India and like met this astrologer or something, and she sat with him and absorbed all his knowledge, and he wrote out all of these different like astrology patterns and birthdays, and what will happen for each type of person, and he mapped it. So she says like this is like a very scientific approach. First of all, I hope he was paid. Where is that astrologer now? What's he doing? Can we book a session with him? Why do we have to have the pattern app? You know what I mean? It's very interesting. That's like an interesting ethical question, but okay. I'm like, is it accurate? Is it accurate? Like, how long did you sit with him? Sometimes it feels accurate, right? You'll read something and you're like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I'm going through. That's happening to me right now. But sometimes I'm like so guilty of this. I'll read my horoscope for the day and I don't like it. So I'll go to a different site and be like, well, what are they saying or whatever? And I don't know, it's like confirmation bias. It's like it produces like anxiety. I become like a little anxious. What's happening? What's it saying for my month? So this app is like a little terrifying because it's like, no. I'm not going to tell you about your day, even though I think that's a feature. It's like, I'm going to tell you about your next year. prepare to get married, or prepare to break up, or prepare to lose your job, or you're going to be like shoved down to the bottom of the earth and like you'll have to rebirth yourself. And I'm like, this is scary. Okay. And is it scary accurate? Because like some of this stuff did happen to me. At one point, I deleted the app a couple years ago because I got like I was overwhelmed. So this is saying a lot of negative things to me. And then all of those things like did happen, but then maybe they were just going to happen. I mean, who's to say, right? So what I'm saying is back to the topic, is I'm reading this, I'm getting all these doom and gloom from these random Instagram astrologers. They're like, if you're a cardinal sign, your last 16 years were powerful and big things happened. But I'm like, you could say that to anybody. You could say that to anybody. Everyone had like 16 years is a crazy amount of time. Like everyone has gone through wild stuff in the last 16 years. So then I'm like, do I actually believe in any of this? Or, is this like a coping thing? Is this like ingrained in like my Los Angeles like DNA to care about this? But I have spoken to some like gurus and astrologers and like people who have been so creepy and spot on, and I'm not going to get into it here. And then I see other things, some friends with like a little bit of like intuitive senses. I have a friend a month ago. She hits me up and she says, I just had a dream that my ex-boyfriend got engaged. I was like, that's weird. He does have a girlfriend, but you never know. I kid you not, a few days ago, this man got engaged. And she does not talk to him. They are not friends. She had muted all his stuff on Instagram. And she only found out because her sister told her a few days ago, like, oh, have you seen your ex, And so I was like, that is kind of creepy. And then I've heard from, different intuits and stuff will be like, oh, you're always like connected to these people that you were. I don't know. I don't know what to believe. But I think I'm taking a little bit of a step back because I can't handle it. I don't think I can handle it right now. I can't. It's a lot on our plate. It's a lot of information. Don't know who to believe. It's like, these people come onto Instagram with such like an authoritative stance. And so then I'm like, I'm not going to listen to them. I'm just going to listen to the pattern app. But then I just read you the pattern app. And it's terrifying. It's actually terrifying. And then I'm like, well, I know the history of the pattern app. So that random astrologer in India, he is like the end all be all. Maybe he is. Maybe he's right. We'll have to just see. Well, I will let you know what happens in the next 3 months for me. maybe this rant, I'm sitting here, I'm being a hater, I'm being doubtful, and it's all going to come to fruition. And I'm sitting here saying, oh, I don't want to partake in astrology anymore. But ultimately, that's not going to ever happen. I'm still going to partake, and I'm still going to live my life a little bit. You will never catch me. You'll never catch me out in the streets with some Gemini guy. You won't catch it. I don't care. I don't care if the astrologer from the pattern app comes out himself and says, you know what, Jazz? You should be with a Gemini. Too bad. So sad. I'm gonna go with the data on this. I'm gonna go with the lived data on this. No, thank you, ma'am. No, thank you, sir. And with that, teacups, that was a rant. It was fun. I did request some fun, interesting dating stories from you guys. I'm working on like a fun episode around that. And in the meantime, join the Instagram, comment. I'll probably have a fun poll here on Spotify. And I think I will bring my mom on next week if I can convince her. I think it's going to be an audio only episode. TBD on that, because I'm going to be somewhere maybe where the Wi-Fi is not great, and I don't know if I'll be able to upload these types of videos, which takes, a million gigabytes and a million hours to upload. So with that being said, teacups, until next week, bye.